Hello, everybody. Welcome to just the vlog. You know what I'm saying? And today, I just got done watching The Hunger Games. No cap. I've seen it a few times just because it is such a good movie, very powerful message, very powerful movie. And spoilers alert, or whatever. I'm gonna try to give you some pointers on the movie, man. First of all, the movie starts off with him on this, I guess if I remember, on his bed, just kind of thinking about, I don't know, they don't really explain what he's thinking about, just kind of thinking about life, I guess, or whatever. And basically he ends up, he's a mentor, and I guess they're in the 10th annual games, and he has to go through basically through facades of having to mentoring these tributes and mentoring all these kids. The main character, Cornelius Snow, which everybody knows from the president, from the book, and from the other movies. You know what I'm saying? Just a humble guy. The thing I like about this movie is that basically it shows his roots, what somebody has to go through to become who they are, or to do what they did at the end of the day. And some people are born like that, but it's a 50-50 thing, in my opinion. How, yes, at the end of the day you make a choice, but your mind makes that choice. You choose to do that choice when you're put in that certain position, and that builds your character in the end, and what type of character you're gonna be. Obviously, he was just a poor guy, and it was hard to make ends meet, and he was desperate for money, desperate to get out of the poverty life. That's what they show in the movie. And he ended up, I guess in the games, in essence, kind of cheating, to make sure his tribute had an advantage, and in the end she ended up winning. But during those times, his emotions, what I'm saying, just kind of got bottled up. They ended up falling for each other. They ended up running away into the woods. And the movie never really explains what the problem ended up in their relationship, because they ended up splitting. But from the forte that we can see and what we can do, it looks like I guess he lied about what how many people he killed, and I guess she put it together, and he kind of slipped up, and I guess that just automatically made her not trust him or something, even after he did for her. So they ended up splitting anyways, after they left everything to just kind of abandon the lifestyle and just kind of try to be together. But they didn't make it work. And in the end, basically what happened was, I guess this is more of a broad story, just obviously I don't know every single detail, who can tell every detail, but it's kind of a broad story, in my opinion, on how basically she ends up not trusting him, and in the end they end up just kind of splitting. She leaves, and she tries to run. The movie never explains where she's running to, or where from, or whatever. In the woods, anyways, like where to from the woods. But we just see her running, and basically Cornelius Snow's paranoia, gets away from him, and ends up looking for her and doesn't find her, and sees her running, ends up shooting her. At that point, obviously he shot her, so at that point, relationship is pretty much over, gets shot and whatnot. But the movie doesn't ever explain exactly what her thoughts are, and the movie never explained where she went. She just kind of disappeared, which that was kind of a cliffhanger, and I'm gonna be honest, I don't really like cliffhangers. Anyways, so she disappears. Cornelius Snow just kind of, what I'm saying, I mean, in the movie it showed his face, and it looked like he obviously, he was in a wreck, he had his heart broken and whatnot, and all that stuff that came with him leaving everything behind and running away from the main state and into the woods. So he doesn't see any other option but to return back to the capital. So he ends up returning back, he ends up basically getting a pardon for what he did. Apparently he cheated and he helped her, like, win the games, kind of on the edge. And basically, at the end of the day, I'm just trying to summarize. I'm not gonna go into every single detail. Basically, heads back to where they originally were, which they were basically on a base. He was on a base in 12, and she was obviously living with her parents or family, whoever. Movie doesn't explain another thing. And basically, he goes back to the base, and his commander tells him that he's was originally gonna go move to a different base, I guess in District 2, but they changed plans and they sent him back to District 1 where he was from. And one of the main antagonists, Dr. Gall, I believe that's her name, she was basically like, oh, well, I was testing you, and the head game maker, she was the head game maker at this movie, and testing or whatnot, whatever. And who knows if she was or not. And basically what happened is he basically fell under her wing, I guess through his charisma and through basically just his charm and whatnot, just kind of fell under her wing. She ended up liking him, and that kind of solidified his place, his character. One thing I forgot to mention is his buddy from the academy. His name is Sejanus. He went along for the ride with him, man. He went along for the ride with him. Fucking moved. Joint base with him, and at the end of the day, that didn't turn out good because Cornelius Snow basically framed him with the recording and sent it to the Department of War, which was Dr. Gall, and basically they hung him. And the irony of that is nobody knew anything except for Snow and Dr. Gall. So his best friend's parents actually pay for everything he needs towards the end of the movie. His survival, in essence, because he was poor. He was a poor dude. He was barely making ends meet. He was very poor in the early of the movie. So basically, his best friend's parents end up paying for everything, paying for his tuition, paying for his school, paying for his needs, because towards the end of the movie you see him in like kind of a nice apartment and whatnot. And basically he ends up moving up, and nobody knows anything. His parents don't know anything. Nobody knows except him and Dr. Gall what happened with his friend, and obviously him. And later, so in the later scene after that, you see him getting back to this nice apartment, assuming that Sejanus' parents, his dead friend, paid for it and whatnot. And you see him just kind of all nice, dressed up, finally having some nice clothes, and finally, looking good. And basically, he ends up going to the second game maker, the one with behind the idea. I guess the second in command of the games, I guess. And basically ends up telling him that he, throughout the movie, the game maker, the second one, the short one, if you ever watch the movie, he's very short. And basically he ends up I guess he hates him because when he dreamt up the idea of the Hunger Games, his father was a partner, and his father, I guess, betrayed him or some stuff like that. And basically he ended up his father ended up taking the ideas, taking it to Dr. Gall and whatnot, and moved up himself. So you kind of see he has a little bit of animosity, and throughout the whole movie you see that he has a little bit of animosity towards Cornelius Snow. So he ends up taking all of the possessions and meeting all of his possessions and everything, and going back to the capital and meeting up with him. You see they have they have a final confrontation between him, one final conversation, and he explains all that about his father and everything to Cornelius Snow. And I'm telling you, he mentions that the only cliffhanger that we have about Lucy Gray is that she just disappeared, and so nobody knows anything. So they just kind of left that as a cliffhanger as it is. And basically, he gives all of his buddies stuff to him to give back to his parents and whatnot. But then the movie doesn't explain if he does or not give it back. And in there was a little I guess you could say a little container, just small container of, I guess it was supposed to be morphine, but Cornelius ended up poisoning it. They don't say with what, and basically he ended up the head game maker ended up drinking it in the end, and he dies. They just show him like straight, like just fall to death or whatever, on his desk. And the movie goes with, it kind of does that oh, I'm on top of the world cliche. Basically, oh, look at me, you see Cornelius Snow walking out and just looking at the statue, looking at his future or whatnot. And then there's a quote, from the original actor. I recognize his voice. I believe he said, "It's the things we love most that destroy us." And that's how the movie ends. You know what I'm saying? Again, this is just, best at the top of my head. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, I mean, I did watch it a few times, but the saying, like, everybody that sees a movie, it's like the game of telephone. Everybody that sees a movie, everybody will interpret it a little bit different. Well, this is just my interpretation, just giving a heads up. But great movie, man. I believe everybody should go watch this movie. This movie's already made a lot of money, but this is such a great movie of power and moving up in the ranks, and just a fantastic story. I believe everybody should watch this movie. All right, everybody. I hope everybody's doing well, and everybody take care, and I will see you in the next vlog.